In this video, we proved that definite integral of x f of sine x is x changed from 0 to pi equal to pi by 2 times definite integral of f of sine x is x changed from 0 to pi. However, this proof must be true for every continuous function f. Let us prove it. We will prove this result using properties of definite integral. There are several properties of definite integral, but we just need one property that says integral 0 to a fx dx equal to integral 0 to a f of a minus x dx. What this property says that if you got a definite integral from 0 to a, then you just replace x by a minus x and the integral do not change. I repeat, replace x by a minus x and the integral do not change. Now, let us write what we got on the left hand side, 0 to pi x f of sine x dx. Once again, we got the integral 0 to pi of x f of sine x, x f of sine x dx. We can replace x by pi minus x, in this case a equal to pi. Let us replace x by pi minus x. We replace x by pi minus x. We replace x by pi minus x. Rest of the expression we can copy as it is. Integral from 0 to pi copied. Instead of x we got pi minus x. F copied. Sine copied. Instead of x we got pi minus x. Dx copied. We are integrating with respect to x. Observe that sine of 180 degree minus theta is sine theta. Sine of 180 degree minus theta equal to sine theta. Can we apply this identity? Of course. Sine of pi minus x can simply be written as sine x. The rest of the expression we can copy as it is. Integral copied, 0 to pi also copied, pi minus x also copied, f also copied. Instead of sine of pi minus x, we simply got sine x, dx copied. Once again, we are integrating with respect to x. Now we know that integral of sum equal to sum of integral. So we can write this integral as integral of 0 to pi times f of sine x. Pi times f of sine x. Further, we got another expression x times f of sine x. Once again, integral of sum equal to sum of integral, or integral of difference equal to difference of integral. 0 to pi, that's copied, negative copied. Okay, pi times f of sine x copied, x times f of sine x copied. Fine. Okay, we did start with this expression. Let us call this expression to be equal to I, the integral that we want to evaluate, or the integral that occur on the left hand side of the identity that we want to prove. We call that to be equal to I. Okay. Observe that we can write this as pi times integral 0 to pi f of sine x. F of sine x. Oh, I should write dx as well. I am integrating with respect to x. Minus this expression is simply equal to I. I equal to integral 0 to pi x f of sine x dx. This expression is simply equal to I. Can I write I? Once again, this expression is exactly equal to I, so I can just write I, and I got I on the left hand side as well. I want to somehow find I, let's say. How can I find it? I can take this quantity to the left hand side. When I do so, when I take negative I to the left hand side, I get positive I and one number of I and one number of I. I get two number of I. Two number of I equal to pi times integral 0 to pi f of sine x dx. From there it follows that I equal to pi by 2, we just divide by 2, integral 0 to pi f of sine x dx. Okay, we got the right hand side, and of course I equal to left hand side, and we did prove the equality. Why is it that we need it to be that true for every continuous function? If the function is not continuous, then it may happen that we may not be able to integrate this expression. If f is continuous, then we can be assured that we can integrate this expression, so our equality is valid.